Welcome back to another episode here. It's been a little while since we got one cranked out. We've been pretty busy with the end of school, turkey season, the farm, all that kind of good stuff. But we kind of just wanted to go into our turkey season and what we're going to be doing now and throughout the summer with our whitetail scouting and that kind of stuff. So let's just dive on in. Tucker, let's hear about your turkey season a little bit.
Well, it was pretty rough. I didn't have a bird respond. The first bird I had, the only two birds I had respond to me is I got a job surveying, and we were doing a survey down in Maryland, and we were on the side of this mountain basically, and we're surveying, and I hear one gobble like 60 yards beside me. I called back to it with my mouth, and he gobbled back, and then I think he saw us because we're in high vis stuff, so he obviously knew we were there, and then he didn't gobble anymore. And that was 2 weeks in, and I heard the first 2 weeks I heard gobblers off the roost. I'd hear 8 or 9 gobblers, and then they'd come down, nothing.
I mean, we had that. I mean, we hunted together a couple mornings.
Yeah,
same thing.
It was so rough, and I don't know. Maybe I'm not a good caller. I've called turkeys in before, though.
Yep.
I just don't know why they would not respond to me. And then the other encounter I had 3 encounters with birds this year. The first one was me and you were together.
Yep.
And we spooked them off the pipeline there.
Yeah, because just some dumb luck. Another thing, like you said about birds not responding. We walked out on this gas line, checked the gas line, no birds. I called for a couple of seconds there. We waited. Nothing responded. So
we called the whole way back that road.
Yeah, we called walking back the road just like we were turkeys just walking through the woods kind of. And we moved past the gas line, went over, and started calling on the other side of the property. And on our way back, we're walking out through there. And I didn't even think, I don't know, it's stupid of me. I didn't even think to look back up the gas line.
Yeah.
And I stepped out, and Tucker goes, there's a bird. So I hit the deck, and I look up there, and I see the old dick beard from that property running into the woods. He wasn't really spooked. It was the hens he was with, and he was just right behind him. And I tried to call real quick, and it didn't work out. Yeah,
them hens ran into the woods, and he didn't break strut going into the woods. He didn't. Thank gosh, he didn't know what really happened.
Yeah,
but we were back there. We were only 100 yards. We were talking. We're not hearing anything this morning because we heard them birds early.
They flew down, shut up.
Yep.
We've switched ends.
And so we were just kind of walking back we're not seeing anything. There's nothing out here.
Yeah, go back to the farm to get some work done.
But that's why, you gotta, that's the hard thing about hunting I've been finding for me.
It's patience.
Is patience, and I'm very pessimistic. I tend to think, there's not going to be a turkey. I'm not going to hear anything.
Yeah, he didn't gobble. He's not here.
Yeah.
I might as well just keep moving. And then you end up getting ready to get up to move, and you screw it up. And you're like, if I would have just waited 2 more minutes, I might have been able to do something with him.
I heard a lot of guys, a lot of people killed. I'm not saying it was a terrible season.
Yeah, I filled both my tags, so I can't complain.
And I know people have done that. For me, it just was not a good season. And I'm not a great turkey hunter. I don't claim to be. I guess I'm looking at it for more the novice turkey hunter that doesn't have a lot of experience. I've hunted I shot one 6 years ago, but that was with,
other hunters.
It was a youth hunt. And I've gone out on my own, but this is the first year I've really taken it seriously.
And tried to actually use some tactics.
I've went out before. I should have killed one a couple of years ago, and it just didn't work out. But, yeah, so you just got to, I heard a lot of people shot birds. They came in completely quiet. I forgot another time. So we saw the one on the Hall Road and stuff, and then the third time I went in for an evening hunt, which we'll have a video of that, and I was called for a while, and I was having a hard time finding somewhere to sit, but I knew they roosted in this area. So I just found a spot, and I called for half an hour, 5 times maybe. Nothing crazy. I didn't want to get too loud, because it was the end of the year, and at that point in time, you start yelping and stuff. That alerts them more. Or does almost more harm than good.
Yeah, because they're already educated from everybody else that's in those woods hunting them.
And a hen's not yelping right off the roost like she would be in the evening. Anyway.
Yeah, yep.
So I get up and move, and I'm walking down the edge of this field line, and I see a doe pop out, and I'm like, I'm just going to sit here on this. And there's a little knoll. And I just sat there, and I was wanting to glass her. So I was watching her. She went in the woods then, and I was like, well, I might as well call here. And I was just trying to see if I could get something to gobble.
Yeah, fire up.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, I called. I did like a sequence, did some yelps, did some clucks and stuff on my slate. And I put them down, and I wanted to get a video of me calling on the GoPro.
Yeah.
Freaking heard up behind me, literally 40 yards behind me. Bird goes up in the tree. I don't know if it was a long beard, if it was Jake, or what it was. Definitely something coming in. And I'm telling you, he must have been right above me coming down anyway.
Yep.
And he heard it, and he was just coming down off the bank. But I was out in the open, and he came in within 40 yards of me before he even, like, spooked. Yeah. So he came in close, but if I was turned around, definitely would have killed him. But there again, you know, it's basically all coming back to Tucker needs to pay more attention when he's in the woods, and he would have killed 2 birds this year. But
yeah.
And then the third time we were at Indian Lake, and it was the last day of turkey season, and we're on the side of the golf course. These guys are hitting on the fairway, and we heard this turkey gobbling like 6 times, and all of a sudden, he comes walking across the fairway, 80 yards in front of these guys golfing.
Oh, my.
And they start laughing. They're like, and he shot gobbles at them golfing, or at them laughing at him. And he comes in the woods, and I start mouth calling to him. I'm like, ow, ow, ow. And just like some real soft stuff. And he comes in, works 50 yards from us, and he sees us. We're just standing there with high-vis like clothing on. We're not like hiding in any. We're just staying still. And he watched us the whole way, walked 50 yards out around us, and just watched us. He probably had like an 8-inch beard on him, and called to him, and we got him to gobble. We were like, we would clap. We clapped, and he gobbled, and then we got real loud yelping, and he'd gobble. And he just slowly, he just slowly walked right past us. Didn't care. He knew we were there, like, and then I like did like the.
Yeah.
He gobbled at that. He didn't come in, but he just kept slowly walking, and he was on a mission. He was trying to find some ass, but
yeah.
So that was cool. And then that was my last encounter with birds, but I had them off the roost. Every time I went out, I heard a bird.
That's a good thing.
It is, and I didn't have a boring hunt, which is really good. I got a lot of experience where if I would have tagged out on the first day,
you wouldn't have learned anything for next year to apply it. Now at least you have some information going forward the next year.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the main thing. See, I had a little bit better luck than Tucker.
Yeah, a lot better.
I don't like to brag. I hate like when people see me, they're you got to, like I don't like to brag, but I like to tell people about it because I'm
It's
proud.
A big deal.
I'm proud for myself.
Yeah.
Like, people probably think I'm bragging, but like this is what I love to do, and like, I just want to like tell people about it. So first day. Like Tucker said, the birds didn't gobble. They gobbled on the roost, flew down. I called in 3 longbeards, actually 5 longbeards, but only 3 made it out to the decoys, and only 1 left. But me and Emily doubled up on that. That was a pretty cool morning. 2 doubles in a row on opening morning, which is pretty rare, I'd say.
Same spot.
Same spot. No, not the ground blind. There was still the dirt ring from where the ground blind last year was. I put it in the same place. So you tell me how many times that's happened.
Yeah.
It's probably not that often.
It's obviously a good spot.
Yeah. Both of our birds had 10-inch beards. My bird had inch and 1/8 spurs, and Emily's had like 7/8 and an inch, I think, were her spurs. So pretty good birds. Then we got more into the farm work. I started hauling manure and all that kind of good stuff, working, putting in the hours so I can pay for the hunting life. But
yeah,
I got out on an evening. It was rain the day before, and the next day I had off. I'm not off, but I worked. But in that night, I knew we weren't going to be working, so I was like, I'm going to head out for an evening sit. I think it was the 19th of May. I killed a bird on the 19th of May in 2018, actually.
That's pretty cool.
Or no, 2019. Yeah, 2019. So I went out, tried my luck. I was actually going up to the neighbors to look around, and I talked to our one neighbor. He said, "Oh, you out looking for a turkey?" I said, "Yeah." I was like, "I killed one, but I'm going to try my luck at killing a second one." He's like, "Oh, all right, good luck." So I pull up to the spot where I glass from, look in the field, and I see a strutter with a couple hens in the back of the field. I turned back around in my truck, and I told the neighbor, I said, "I found one." He said, "All right, go get him." And he's like, you're going to have to go a long ways. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, good luck. So I headed out, parked, snuck into the woods. I took one decoy and my shotgun. I wish I would have took my camera. It was some of the best footage that you could have probably ever laid down. But by yourself and the way I had to get close to the turkeys, there's no way I was going to be able to do it all with the equipment.
Yeah.
And get there in time. And it's 7 o'clock. And it gets dark at that time. It was getting dark about 8:15. So I was like, I gotta get a move on. So I belly crawled through the woods, got to the field up from him, set up, and I was trying to call the bird in that was in the field. He would not come up. Bird fired up down on the bottom, gobbled twice, hit the field. He started heading up the edge of the field, kind of towards me, but there was a lot of hens right there. And in the meantime, the other gobbler that was in the field, he's breeding hens on the 19th of May. He's breeding hens down there. Wish I would have had the camera.
Yeah. Which, for those people that don't know, they should definitely be done by that time.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm not sure.
It's definitely pushing that late period. It's not...
And it's weird. I don't know why they were out so late. Usually, the hens are already sitting on nests this time of year for us. And the gobblers are out looking, and it was just weird because there was a lot of hens out late.
Yeah, and it was the whole year, the hens really were out.
Yeah.
From the beginning of the season, the birds were henned up, and I think, towards the end, I heard people last couple of days where some of the birds had 8 hens around them.
Yep.
I know a guy who had 8 hens around him, and he's like, I can't even compete with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There was these 2 gobblers in this field with 4 hens, and it was hard to get them to come up there. So I'm trying everything. I'm purring, I'm putting. I mean, I'm not a great turkey caller or anything, so I'm trying to do my best to just to entice them. Well, the smaller bearded bird starts
McCauley the enticer.
Yeah, the enticer. So the smaller bird starts heading my way, and I was like, I'm in some high grass. So I set up in high grass. I put my decoy out. And I'm just sitting there, I'm in ambush mode pretty much, just calling. And look like a Navy SEAL out there. And so this bird starts coming up, and I knew the one further away was a big bird. I was like, I want to wait for him to come up here. Well, this smaller bird he gets 10 yards, and I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I might just have to shoot him. So I flip my safety off. I have my gun, getting ready to come up to my shoulder. I was going to do a quick shoot. Well, the other bird starts walking towards me. So I was like, I'm going to wait a second. The bird that was coming closest to me, he gets 6 yards. And he's to me, I'm looking at him, he looks like he's right in my face. He looked blowed up. Mm-hmm. He's just spitting and drumming. My heart's pounding. And I was like, I'm shooting the big one. I could see the rope on the big one. I was like, I'm going to pull this gun up. This one's going to run, and I'm going to shoot the big one. I was like, he's probably 40 yards away. I was like, my gun will touch him. So I flip my gun up to my shoulder, look through. The bird that was 6 yards in front of me, he spooks. The one back behind picks his head up, and I flopped him over. So I go running down there, step on his head quick, and I'm looking I threw my shotgun down right where I was sitting. I looked back up there. I was like, holy smokes, this is a poke. So I stepped it out from the turkey back up there. Stepped it out at 62 yards. I'm using a 12 gauge. Super mag with 3.5-inch 6-shot, 62 yards. It flopped him over.
That's nuts.
He wasn't going anywhere.
That is so crazy.
It would have been such a cool, just having a turkey 6 yards in front of you, strutting and spinning and drumming, and I have no cover around me other than some 2.5-foot tall grass. I'm just sitting like Indian style in this grass with my head sticking up. My decoy's out there 10 yards. I'm just holding my shotgun waiting. I'm just being real still.
Yeah.
No face paint or nothing. Not even a face mask. Just the old farmland hunter hat and my camo. It was just cool.
See, that's what happens when you buy a farmland hunter hat and merch. You kill birds.
That's plain and simple. That's the
key
reason.
right there.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't work. Tucker didn't get his in time. That's
well, I didn't wear the farmland hunter stuff because it wasn't camo. See, I will always wear my Matthews hat, and
you weren't using a bow.
Right, but I'm telling you, I think these animals, they see Matthews and they know they're gonna die.
Yeah,
so I think they see the lettering and they're like, they don't want any part of it, so they just leave. They know if they come into range, this guy he shoots a Matthews. He's a Matthews guy. It's done for him.
It's over.
I actually saw that on TikTok. I thought it was funny.
Yeah,
I'm not taking credit for that.
TikTok. Everybody uses TikTok saying it's okay. We're all guilty.
Yeah, for you older guys that barely get this podcast on Spotify or wherever you found it, you probably don't even know what TikTok is.
Yeah. Tic-Tac, what is that?
Tic-Tac,
Isn't that those things you buy at a store? But turkey season was good. Overall, we laid down some cool footage, and we got to see a lot of cool turkeys, had a lot of firsts. Yeah. But though, I want to dive into kind of like a lot of people ask me like what I'm doing now, like with deer hunting wise to get ready.
Yeah, a lot of people are asking where's the podcast?
Yeah, a lot of people
getting podcasts.
Yeah, there's a guy. I'm not gonna say his name just in case if he doesn't want to say it, but he commented on our YouTube video, our first YouTube video, which did really well, thank goodness. And he asked when the podcast was coming, and I told him like hopefully 2 or 3 days. Well, our Wi-Fi went down and we weren't able to upload it. And there's some technical difficulties with that podcast. We're gonna release it anyhow.
Yep.
Maybe
that'll probably be out this Tuesday.
Yeah, maybe. It depends on how we get it figured out. But we had some technical difficulties. We have those figured out now.
It will be up, even if it sounds a little bad
because it's static and stuff. But we're gonna get it up.
There's good
quality
content on it,
information in there. But we're going to get all that figured out, straightened out. So for all you guys that have been wondering where we're at, we're going to get it rolling again. We've just been busy.
Yep.
But diving into what we're doing for deer hunting, I usually put my cameras out about the 3rd week of May. So if you guys are wondering, like some guys wait till July. Mm-hmm. I know I just talked to a guy tonight that said he doesn't put any cameras out until July, which that's just your own personal thing. I love checking trail cameras and getting information and just getting pictures. So I just put my cameras out the 3rd week of May. I let them sit the first time for 2 weeks to draw in some information. And guys this is where a lot of people don't agree with me. I'll check them every week until about August.
Yeah.
That's just me. Like, I haven't noticed anything. I've still had a lot of good luck. There's all the big bucks that I had on camera. It doesn't seem like they ever leave because of it. Like, I've checked trail cameras the same day and had deer come in, like big bucks come in an hour later. Yep. I mean, yes, it probably has some sort of an effect, but they probably, like, I don't feel like it affects them until, like, they shed their velvet and that testosterone level gets up and they start getting kicked into survival mode. So for you guys that are afraid to check your trail cameras every week, I'm not afraid of it until about the last week of August, September. And then I'll start staying out there 2-3 weeks at a time. And sometimes if it's in a spot that it's hard to get to and I don't want to bump any deer out, I'll just leave it go until I go in there to hunt. Yep. And that's just me. But so what I'm doing now, I got my trail cameras hung. I have 13 total, which I would love to have more, especially cell cameras. I love cell cameras.
What do they say, like, if you really want to track down every deer, you have to have a camera an acre?
So I can't remember the exact number. But this guy was saying this. This is just him talking. Yeah. He said, I can't remember even what YouTube I watched it on. He's like, if you really wanted to figure out every deer on your property, like to figure it out down to a number, to like, he said you'd have to have almost a camera to the acre. Mm-hmm. And honestly, an acre is 44,000 square feet. That's a chunk. I've had you place a camera on one deer path, and the deer walks 5 feet to the right of it, you don't get a picture of him. Yep. And I mean, yes, like nobody can do that. Nobody can put a camera to the acre unless you're super rich. Like maybe if I turn into a billionaire one day, maybe I'll do that on my property in Iowa. But, but really, I get a pretty good idea. I have a farm. It stretches about a mile from tip to tip. It's just like a slim sliver down through the woods, and it stretches for a mile. And I run 7 cameras along that whole mile, and I get a pretty good idea about what's in the area. And it's crazy about at the top end of the property, I'll have like certain bucks. At the bottom, I'll have some bucks, and sometimes they'll mix in the middle a little bit, but they'll never switch sometimes. Yeah. It's like those bucks that are at the top, and that must just be right on the edge of their range. So I don't be afraid to put lots of cameras in an area. If you have them. If you don't have lots of cameras, just put them out there on a good place. Yep. If you're in a place where you don't have CWD, put some like salt licks or mineral licks or that kind of stuff.
Make sure you check your regulations
CWD laws and stuff. They really screwed us over on that one. Yeah. I haven't seen a sick deer. We said this before. It's still I still have hard feelings about that. But so that whole thing, like, do that. You'll probably get good pictures. I know I've been having lots of pictures roll in. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to prepare my food plots. I do a lot of like the early food plots. Like a lot of guys will plant fall food plots, like the brassicas and the turnips. I'm starting to just do clover and chicory. I think I'm just going to stick to that this year with corn. I do have a 2-acre food plot that I'm going to do like an acre of corn, acre and a half of corn, and then in the inside of it, I'm planting chicory and clover.
Yeah.
And the clover I frost seeded the clover in February, last week of February. I frost seeded the clover in 2 different locations, and right now it's up about 4 inches. It's a little spotty yet because it's strip job ground. Strip job ground doesn't grow much of anything, but it's really coming. I gotta give some bravos to Whitetail Institute. It's pretty good. That seed came up that ground was packed tight, and I just went over top of it with a seeder and threw it on top. And it's starting to grow. I just mowed it for the first time here 3 days ago. I recommend mowing your food plots if you're deer like clover, but if you don't keep it new growth, they'll just not. They'll still pick at it, but they like it more when it's new growth. So I'd say if you want to keep after it at least once a month. I mowed it June, like the 1st of June, 1st of July, August, and then I'll hit it again in September early, and then I'll let it go because by then you're starting to get cold weather and it'll be coming. But
that's like, farmers will cut their pastures down if they're too high.
Yeah, it's
Just
the same thing.
Cattle,
they like new growth. Like stuff will get old. Clover will do the same thing. There's not enough deer to keep it mowed down. Yeah. That's the big thing. Like it's not like maybe out in like Iowa or somewhere where they have a dense deer population. A small food plot like that, the deer would probably keep mowed down.
Yeah.
But something here where like there's not that many deer and they're not hitting it every night. It just grows up too fast.
Plus, you have ag lands all around it.
Yeah, they can go anywhere on our property and get food, especially when our corn starts to grow here.
Yeah.
They're pretty much my food plot will just be like a staging area for them to feed out into the big areas. So it's more for like after we cut our crops in like October. That's when my food plot will really turn on. And I'm hoping this year we don't have a drought. Last year we had a drought on the farm.
Yeah, it got bad there.
And my cornfield only got about 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And I was hoping for like a 8-9 foot stand. Yeah. And it just didn't work out. But that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to get my food plots prepared. You got to think ahead. If you're wondering, like, if you're like, man, he's pretty successful, I wonder like how I can be a little bit more like him. You got to think a couple months in advance.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if I do this now, what's this going to do in October? What's this food plot going to do in November? Yep. What's it going to do in December? If you like to shed hunt, what's it going to do in February, March?
Yep.
And that kind of stuff. So you gotta plant accordingly on what you want. Like, do you want to hunt October? Do you want to hunt November? You looking for it for rifle season? You got to pick your blends. Like, depends on that. Like, that's how I think. Same thing with your trail cameras. I have those tried and true spots that every year a trail camera gets put there because it seems like every year the bucks, no matter what, the bigger ones are always coming through those same locations. It's just like the bucks learn from the older bucks. Like they're in their batch groups. When he's a spike and he's watching old granddad that's like a 10-point 140 incher, and he does this in the summer. When he grows up, he's going to have the same kind of routine in the summer, and like it just goes on down the path they learn. So those tried and true spots, I always put trail cameras there, but I always float cameras around too. I have a couple cameras I'll float around to pick up new spots, just to see what's in the area. Yeah. The bucks are just now, like if you don't have your trail cameras out yet and you're wondering about the growth, the bucks, some of the bigger ones in PA at least, like I'm not sure, different bucks grow different times. Some of my nicer bucks are starting their G3s, which is pretty good for this time of year.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm super excited because there's going to be a couple. I have 3 bucks that were nice last year that are going to be, actually 4 that are going to be pretty big. And I want to do a summer inventory video. Just do that kind of thing and like introduce you to the bucks, kind of just so you can like intertwine with me a little bit so you can follow along with the story. That way maybe in the fall, like if I can connect with one, like you can put it all together and make a story out of it. But,
yeah, what's pretty cool is McCauley sent me a picture of a deer he got on camera today.
Yep.
And then one he got pretty much the same time, almost to the day.
It is the same day.
Yeah, the same day last year. Looks like the same buck.
He's just bigger proportion.
Yep.
He has the same growth. Like, he's already starting his G3s last year this time, and he's doing the same thing this year, except he's bigger. Like, he's a couple inches wider, added on a lot of mass, and his points at the bait, like his points starting out on the main beams are way thicker. And usually when they're big like balls on top of their points going up, they usually grow out really far.
Oh, okay.
When the points are get up there and they don't have like a ball on top of them, they're starting to point out, then they're pretty much done growing. But if they keep that like knob on top of them and they don't get thin, they'll go for a long time. And he has a good chance to be a pretty big buck, maybe bigger. If you guys know who Splits is last year, which you probably do if you've listened to this, he has the chance to be bigger than Splits. I have 3 bucks that have the chance to be bigger than Splits. So you're talking like mid-30s, maybe hitting the 140s mark. Yep. And when you're talking about a buck like that in Pennsylvania, like maybe 3 or 4 of them in the same year, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. It gives you a lot of opportunities. You're not
hunting one buck. You can, like, depending on the wind, you can hunt different farms. And the nice thing about this, 2 of the bucks are on one farm. There's a buck on another farm and a buck on another farm. Yeah. So I have 3 different farms that have bucks on them that I could possibly hunt. Yep. And like, obviously, like, now I'm just brainstorming. Like, when I walk in the woods right now, like, I'll do this. Maybe you should do it too. When you're walking in the woods, start picking out trees. Just like I did that today. Where I shot Splits the first time last year, I was like, I'm walking down in a spot. I was like, there's a tree, like, trees are growing every year. I was like, well, this tree looks like it might be big enough to hang a stand in this year. I was like, it'd put me on the downwind side, and I'd be able to see everything like I could from that stand, and even maybe more. So do that too. Like, I do that a lot when I'm checking trail cameras. I'll just be picking out trees. Like, I could climb up in this one, that'd make a good spot. Like, always use the most recent information. Cheese calls it MRI. That's your best thing. Even now with the summer, if you're out driving around, see a nice buck in a field or something, hang a camera. Bucks in the summer, they'll show up just about anywhere. So just hop in the woods, throw up a camera. If you can put a salt block out or minerals, do it. If you can't, because you're in a CWD area, don't recommend it, because you'll get a fine and maybe lose your hunting license. I'm not sure.
Yeah, then you don't have to worry about deer.
Yeah.
I kind of went about it. I mean, right now I'm going about it in a different way. I have my cameras up from last year in places that pretty much I wouldn't move them too much, because the way I have them set up is it gets a good idea of different areas and different travel paths. And they have been up since the beginning of February.
Yeah,
and I've only checked them like 3 times, and they've been running currently, most of them, since March. So I'm going to be seeing deer that have lost their antlers, that still had antlers, and are just now growing them. And I have not gone in to check them because, for me right now, one, I'm busy. I'm mowing stuff, have a job, and then I don't live close to where my cameras are. So it takes me about 2 hours to check them.
Which is a freaking long time.
Yeah, it's a lot of walking too. And the information that I get from these cameras right now isn't going to change how I'm going to hunt.
Yeah.
Right.
The thing I look at, like, I'm a sucker for good pictures.
Right, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, that's the thing. Like, I like hunting and that kind of thing for that kind of stuff, watching them grow. Like, I love watching a buck. If somebody told me, McCauley, you can't hunt anymore, I would just do it just to put cameras out there. I do the same stuff I'm doing now, just to watch them grow from year to year. Right. That's just me.
Yep. Yeah, and I was just kind of saying that's that way. If you are feeling left out, that you haven't been out doing it, it's fine. You don't need to now.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Even if you have your cameras out and you're not seeing these bucks, it might be a good thing.
Yep.
Because a lot of times if you have deer in the summer, sometimes those deer move on. They have different patterns in the fall.
Their patterns change constantly.
Yep. And it all comes down to does and where the greenery is too.
Yep.
Those 2 things are a big factor. So right now, their sources of food is completely different. Their activities are completely different. What they're trying to do, they're trying to just kind of rebuild themselves from the winter and build up. So they're staying on those food sources. They don't have to go far away. They don't need a lot of cover. A A lot of time you'll find them close to those big food sources where it's easy access. They travel, but the key is, you want to kind of give an inventory of your deer right now.
Yep, that's what I do.
Because if you have these deer right now, you're getting these on camera. When it comes to fall, you can slowly kind of track out and branch out and get specific to where they're at. And just because, don't get set into to one spot. I know people that they hang their tree stand.
And that's their only spot they'll hunt for the whole rifle season or archery season.
And I was like that for a long time. And
I did it.
Still kind of am. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a mobile hunter by any means, but I think there is something valuable with the mobile hunting kind of movement that's going on. Because you're going off the most recent sign. One, you're going into the woods more, and you're actually scouting for more areas. And you're constantly looking because you don't have your spot to kind of rely on. So you got to find these new spots and new trees. And you're getting out in your property. And a perfect example is the huff buck this year out in Indiana.
Yep.
This guy...
Is it Indiana or Illinois?
I'm pretty sure I think it's Indiana. We'll look it up here.
Yeah, hold on.
We'll get... Jamie, can you check that out for us?
Yes, I can. Yeah, go ahead, keep talking. I'll check it out.
So basically, he takes 2 weeks off in the the last week of October into November. It's a great time. Best 2 weeks to hunt all year, hands down. He goes, wears his stands out, and that's something else you got to think about too. Is if you take a week off work and you only have a couple days to hunt, you can run your stands out real quickly.
Oh, yeah.
If you're going in there every morning, every night, those deer will pattern you faster than you'll pattern them.
Yep.
You still might get lucky. I mean, that's the thing about being in the woods. You can still get lucky, but you always want to have the best odds in your favor.
You want to put yourself one step ahead.
Right. And you're really making yourself at a disadvantage there. So this guy, he has hang-on stands and stuff. So he was like, all right, well, I'm going to go back to the back of my property here. And I've seen deer back there before, but I just want to change it up. It's better than sitting in the house. Goes, finds a tree, runs his climber up it, and he said he didn't see anything. And this monster, he was texting his dad to I'm heading down, not seeing anything. And it was at 6 o'clock or something. And ended up, is it the world's second largest, or
yes,
is it in
it's
debate?
the second largest in the world.
Okay.
Biggest in the United States.
Okay, yeah. There's so many confusions between these deer and the different things. So I just wanted to make sure. Ended up shooting him at 45 yards, and if he would have never moved, he would have never shot that buck.
Yep.
And it just happened by chance that deer was moving through, and it was luck at the right time.
Yep.
That he was in a different area than he would have been. And maybe he would have shot a buck, at his other stands. Very possible, but it's a good example of not being afraid to move and try something new.
Yep. I only have 4 hang-on stands. So people if you're listening to this, you probably think, oh man, he probably has 20 stands.
Yeah.
I don't. I have 4, and
I have 3.
I'll move them around. I'll move them. Heck, I'll hang them. Okay, so since we're talking about this, what we're doing for the summer wise, soon I'll start hanging stands. Mm-hmm. And you're going to think, what? That's crazy. But I'll go to spots where last year I got information where it's okay, bucks were in here all the way. And I'll hang my stands now.
Yep.
And they'll be up for the next 4 months. And maybe then about October hits, I'll start humming them. Mm-hmm. And then I'll decide, this spot's not as good as it was last year. And then I'll start messing with them again. I'll start moving them, packing them up, moving them to the next spot. And I usually move each stand about once a year. I'll move it from its original location in the summer. I'll usually end up moving the stand at least once. I have some hang-on or ladder stands that stay in the same spot every year. They're just a good spot, and if I need somewhere to go, I can always trust going there, just to have a good hunt. Might not kill something, but at least I'll be out there.
Right.
And that's just kind of the thing I'm doing. So if you're thinking about where to hang stands and do that kind of stuff, don't wait until September. I mean, you can, but if
you can, it's just not.
I don't want to say you can't. Don't wait, but I've had a lot of luck in hanging my stands early. The deer get used to them. They'll have months to look at them.
Yep.
But that's just what I do. So you don't have to do that. But use your information from last fall. If you got any sort of information, like you were sitting in a tree stand and all the bucks that you saw were like 100 yards down, move your tree stand now, because there's a good chance that same trail is going to be open up this year.
Yep.
There's a reason they come up that way, because they feel safe. Don't set it up right on the trail. Back it off like 20 yards so you have a 20-yard poke at it. But make sure, and that's another thing, when you're setting up your tree stands, which way is the wind blowing? Like guys will just put up a tree stand. I did it for years. I just hang a tree stand and I go there and sit.
Yep.
And the trails that they'd be coming out on would be directly behind me or something, and the deer would walk up, and that'd be it.
Yeah. I think we're probably gonna do another episode just on tree stand setups, just to get more in depth. But this is just kind of
like a summer intro into what we're doing. Like we're gonna go into the whole. I'm gonna do a whole like how I'm hanging my tree stands. That whole side of it. I'll do that later when I'm doing it. Probably August. I'll probably go into that maybe. But right now I just want to talk about like what we're doing. As of right now, trail cameras. I'm checking them every week. And you guys, if you follow along on our Instagram, I always post the pictures of the bucks. I don't put the locations because too many people know or where I live, but and nobody knows where those locations are. The pictures, I make sure they look discreet. I'll edit them a little bit so people don't know.
He'll edit bigger deer in them.
Yeah, I'll take a buck from Iowa from like August of last year and I'll put him in there.
Yeah.
But no, I always post pictures. I'm not afraid to post the pictures because people like seeing them.
It is cool,
I like kids that don't have big bucks on camera. If you're one of those kids, that's why I do it. I like some of the kids like to follow along with it. There's lots of kids that like listening to this podcast and follow along and watching the Instagram, and I like checking the cameras just to get pictures. And those kids like watching it, and maybe some adults too like seeing the pictures. And I've got lots of cool pictures off of trail cameras.
It's not all about you're not gloating by saying, "Oh yeah, I got this one biggest
buck in the county."
It's more of giving an appreciation for these deer, and it's really cool how you do it because you show from the beginning of them growing all the way up through. I mean, you can go back and go through the Instagram, and you can look at deers when they just started out. Like Splits, you can see when he was little, follow the entire journey of him growing up through.
From the time he was even like you can watch him from the time he was 2.5 to the time from the time he was 1.5 to the time he was 3.5 when I killed him.
And it's all documented.
And you can look at him when he was 3.5 from the time he started growing to how he filled out and shed his velvet. You can see all that. And there's other bucks like that too. And Gilbert last year, he was killed. I don't know if I ever talked about Gilbert on here, but if you go back on our Instagram, he was killed last year. I actually have pictures. I have 4 pictures, 4 different months of him turned around looking in the same position, looking away from the camera, exactly a month apart in each picture of him growing. I have a picture of him in May. I have a picture of him in June, July, and August. And you can just watch how he grows. He had his brow tines and these little main beams in May. And then in June, he had like G2s, G3s. July, he had all of his points. He was starting to shoot his kicker off. He was like really blowing up. And then in August, he was filled out and getting ready to shed his velvet. And then I have pictures of him later on too of him shed his velvet. But you just have to look through. Like I always give a little description, like this is strikes, splits, whatever. That way you can, if you're bored or something, you can check that out. That's why I do it. I like when people can follow along. I love when people come up to me and they're like, "Oh, dude, splits is getting bigger." They're like, "This buck's sweet, dude. I hope like you kill strike." And like they're telling me the names of the bucks. And it's like, man, like that's cool because people actually care enough to listen and like pay attention to what I'm doing that they get to know the bucks too. Like they're not hunting my property, but they're getting an insight into like what's going on. And
then they can take that back and do it to their parcel
or even on public land. I know you can't do a lot on public land for like habitat and that kind of thing, but you can apply some of the same tactics on the tree stands and stuff. And you can, there's like the Game Commission don't like it. Like I know it says don't name the elk. Screw the Game Commission on that one. If you have elk on your property and one comes by every year and he looks the same and you give him a name just for whatever for
S's and G's.
Yeah, like who cares? Like, I do it for deer. Like, if a game warden would tell me, like, you shouldn't name the deer, they're not pets, they're not yours. Yes, I know they're not mine, but yeah, I like to name them. And you know what? My neighbors, when they hear what I name them, guess what? The neighbors start calling them the same exact name because it sticks. And if you can start naming deer,
it's just a reference. You're not claiming this is my
it's not
deer.
like, this is my deer. You're not allowed to shoot it. That's splits. I've been watching him for 3 years. No.
What are you gonna say? Oh, the 8-point to 10-point.
Yeah.
You know that big 8, the small 8.
Yeah, you know that buck with the antlers in the woods. Like, if you're on public land, you can name them too. Yeah. And game wardens aren't gonna say nothing to you. And you can follow along. I know guys that just hunt public land solely.
Yeah.
And he names deer.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And he follows them. And he's actually in a good location where I'm not even sure where it's at because, he wouldn't tell me.
Right.
And that's fine. But he has the same deer year after year. And nobody shoots him. And he finds a ton of sheds. That's what he lives for, I think, bet more than hunting. He found I don't know. I think he's probably. I don't know the exact number, but he's at 50 sheds.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I found 6, and I walked a lot of miles. Yeah,
but I found a little 4-point, which I think is pretty cool because it was small.
Talking about sheds, so I only found 1 during what I call shed season, like February through April. Yeah. I actually found the other 5 in turkey season. And it's crazy. If you watch the YouTube, if you guys haven't watched the YouTube video yet of Jack versus Jake's,
go check that video out.
It's a cool little video of just Jack getting out there.
Young hunter, excited about hunting.
And he had a great time. There's lots of laughs, and you get to see him miss a Jake.
Yeah.
It's just fun. But I actually do find a shed in that video. We were just walking down trying to strike up a gobbler.
Yep.
And I find a shed, and it was just cool. Like, you don't expect that kind of stuff. And I walked that area freaking 5 times. But yeah, check that video out. Even if you're bored, it's only 9 minutes long or something. It's just a nice, cool little video.
Yeah, and it's good to see a young hunter getting out,
having fun. Even though he missed, we heard 15 different birds, and it when every time one gobble, you could see him grip his gun barrel. And get ready to pull it up, even though the birds are 500 yards away. He's getting ready.
Yeah.
And it was just fun because I was that way. I was probably worse. I'd be sitting there shaking, and Cheese would be like, "You gotta calm down.
Yeah.
You gotta calm down."
Yeah.
And I'm I'm trying. Jack's the same way. I was you have to watch it in the video. I don't want to spoil it.
And then he ends up shooting a bird later, so it all works out.
He ends up missing a long beard later. Not with me, with his uncle. He ends up missing a long beard. The Jake was hanging around, pumps it back, shoots a Jake. Still didn't get him a long beard. Maybe next year. Next year, there's always next year. I really wanted to get him a long beard. We tried. We even tried to get him a Jake. Heck, I couldn't care less what he shot, honestly. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously not a hen or nothing, but a Jake, it wouldn't have mattered to me. He was just happy.
Yep.
That's all that matters.
And that was what was really good to see in the video, is just the genuine love of hunting and being out there after these birds. And
every time we got our butt whooped, time after time at every spot, we would just laugh.
Yep.
That's all you could do.
Yep. Yeah. Another good thing I was thinking about, we were talking about tree stands to do this time of year, is take your stands. If you don't pull them down in the winter, take them down now, put new straps on them, check them, make sure your cables are good.
Yep.
Because it's important to have all that stuff taken care of. If you need a new ladder, go check that out. Go get new straps for it.
Yep.
Last year, I didn't do that. Went up in a stand, sitting in the stand, looked down. I was like, I should probably look at the straps on this thing. And here are both of the ratchet straps frayed halfway through it. I'm already sitting up in there. And your harnesses, make sure your harnesses are good. Your lifelines, if you don't have that stuff, make sure you have that, and make sure you wear a harness every time you're in the tree.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a pain in the ass.
It is.
And it can get expensive.
And it's a lot of work to get it up in the tree stand. It is. I should wear them whenever I'm in a ladder stand. When I climb up in a ladder stand, I don't use it. But when I'm in a hang-on stand, actually, you guys probably won't believe this. Most of my hang-on stands are 12 feet off the ground.
Really?
Yep. Not all. I mean, I have 4 of them. 3 of them are only 12 feet off the ground.
Wow.
And that's just because I try and put them in a brushy covered tree where there's lots of background. And you don't have to be high. There's guys that go 30 feet up. There's no use. There's no use, I don't think.
The deer can't smell you or see you 30 feet up. I'm convinced their necks don't bend that high.
I've seen doe look straight up in the tree. But like I go 12 feet up and I've had lots of success.
Yeah.
I have 20-foot ladders and I'll be like 5-6 feet from the top of it. That's just me. So I get lazy sometimes with the harness, but if I do go high up to get into cover, I will take like my harness and I'll hook it in. And I made my own harness actually. I have a harness, but I made my own setup to make it easier. I got like a clip, like a really heavy, like a 250-pound weighted clip that like it'll take 250 pounds hanging on it. And I'm only 145. So I made this little thing that goes up. You can hook onto it, go up, kind of like the same thing.
Oh, like the light, like you just slide it up as you go up. Yeah,
it's just on one stand, but at the top, I took like the regular things you use for a tree stand, like a ratchet strap, and I made like a bull ring, and I just ratchet strap the bull ring fast to the tree stand, and when I get up there, it's the clip. I just I clip right into it, and I've even like not jumped off my tree stand, like I'm not trying to like jump, yeah, I'm not like, but like I've stepped off of my tree stand onto like the ladder and pulled on it and it didn't do anything. So I was like, if it at least breaks my fall or gives me enough time to grab something, it's doing its job. But in my 12-foot stands, I'm 6 foot tall. It's a 6-foot drop. I jump like 8 feet sometimes a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, I guess if you land the wrong way, it could be bad.
Yeah.
I'd be more worried about my bow than me.
You can heal.
Yeah, I can heal. That bow can't, and it's expensive.
Yeah.
I'd be like arm up in the air trying to save the bow, hit the ground, like, is the bow okay?
Yeah. This year I had, I think, my favorite setup, tree stand setup, except for my stand. I went with an XOP Vanish stand. I wanted it because it was light. If I had to move it, I could carry it. It was easy to set up. It was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever sat in. It's miserable. The seat's small. The pad gets flattened real easy, and your platform's small. But regardless, it was a good setup. There's a flat road. I'm up on the side of a hill, and the tree's on the hill.
Yep.
So I have the 3-foot sections, and I really like those. I'm going with those for now on. The only thing I don't like about the sections is when you're climbing up, if you grab the bottoms of them, the bottoms do come up off the tree.
I have 3 of my stands have the sections. But they do that, but they are nice.
They are nice.
You can twist them around the tree.
Yes.
I have a stand. The tree is like crooked. Like it's like an L shape almost. Mm-hmm. It like crooks and goes up, and I have to hang it like a stick on one side of the tree, and then I have to hang one halfway around, and then one on the back side of the tree. So as I'm going around, it's like going up a spiral staircase.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing. Like you can't do that with a 20-foot stick.
No.
Nope.
No. And you can get in pine trees a lot better. You can get in trees that have branches, and when you get into those trees, you're really getting brushed in there and helping with your concealment.
You can move it off to the off center. Those big 20-foot sticks, you can bend them a little bit, but it doesn't give you much room for improvement.
But these things are 3 foot high, and I spaced them out like 2 feet in between, and I had 5 of them, and I put it at the 5th one, and I had one more to kind of hold on to. I always like something. Some guys will take their 20-foot ladder, and they'll put their stand flush at the 20 feet and hold on to the tree and step on. I have one stand that I do that with, and it scares the hell out of me every time I get in it. Yeah. I'm afraid of heights. So tree stands kind of are like, that's why I always make sure I'm strapped in. But this one I felt pretty safe in. So I'm like 22-ish feet, I'd say, up. But then from the bottom where the deer are, I'm like 4 or 5 feet up on this bank. So I'm really looking like I'm way down.
Sharp angle.
Yep. And my scent, kind of blows over them, which I liked. I didn't have one deer see me all year. I'm up out of the way, and then there's pine trees behind me, and it kind of flattens out behind me. And I'm high enough on the backside that they can't see me.
Yep.
I'm like 12 feet or, 13 feet off the backside. So I'm high enough that they can't see me from the back. In the front where I'm exposed, I'm really high. And it was just a good location. And I picked it out perfectly this year. And it was the first time hunting that property. And I just kind of pictured, you go into a certain spot, you can kind of picture like the way the trails are laid in and kind of like the ground, and you think about different times of year and your cover at that time of the year. You still want to be concealed, not too much, but the buck came right to my left side here where I wanted him to, right where I pictured him, and shot him. And that was my best setup so far. I really liked it, but man, that stand, I'm going to have to do something else with it this year. It's so uncomfortable.
If you're looking at, while we're on the subject of tree stands, if you're looking at getting something good, I buy the $80, $89 big game tree stand XLs, the Captain XLs.
Okay.
They're called, or the Woodsman XLs, something like that. Don't quote me on that, but if you look it up, you'll find it. Inflation probably has it going
this
up
year you're going to be paying more regardless.
More, but I think when I got mine they were like $89, $90 for the platform, which that's
pretty
reasonable.
Good. Those Field and Stream stands were amazing, and they discontinued them.
Oh my goodness, that pisses me off. I'm sorry for the language, but man, does that piss me off.
They were $90. They were great stands, big seat, big platform,
and you could
adjustable
get the sticks,
angle.
You could get the sticks for $60 for like 4 of them, and it was like perfect. You could buy the whole setup. You could get a whole tree stand setup for like $140.
And they discontinued it.
Yeah, freaking! Oh my goodness! We had a Field and Stream in Altoona, and I bought 2 stands there. That's the first 2 hang-on stands I bought were Field and Stream brand, and I put them up. I love them. I went back up to Altoona. They sold the place to Sportsman's Warehouse.
Yeah.
No, it's not even Sportsman's Warehouse.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's Sportsman's Guide.
Sportsman's Guide's the internet one. Sportsman's Warehouse is the one in Altoona.
Oh, yeah, Sportsman's Guide's better. Sportsman's Warehouse, they have a lot more stuff there now, but they should have kept the Field and Stream tree stand brand. However they could have got that.
Yeah.
They should have kept it.
And Field and Stream on their website discontinued it too, so you can't even order it offline.
So I switched after Sportsman's Warehouse got in there. I went on the Sportsman's Guide on the internet, and I ordered the big game XL whatever tree stands, and I got the sticks for them, or the River's Edge sticks or something. I changed it up, whatever. I don't really care if they match. I'm not sponsored.
I think they're all made by the same place.
Pretty much, they're all the same.
Buy them out, and
some Chinese kid over there is making them.
Poor bastard.
Yep, and that's about it. So they're all the same.
Yeah, I think this year Sportsman's Warehouse has a Millennium.
Oh, okay.
For $100, and it's big seat. Millenniums are great stands. They're steel, but they're heavy duty. They're coated, big seat on them, big platform. I think I'm gonna run those this year. For $100, I really messed up, and I'm not sure if this one does or not. Maybe it's $110, but one of them does come with a lifeline too, that's like good. $40.
Yeah,
you go buy the Hunter Safety Systems lifeline, the one you tie at the top and bottom of your tree.
And you push it up as you go up the tree.
They're like $40.
I can't. So the biggest reason I don't have all that stuff is because I was not in Boy Scouts. I should have took Boy Scouts. I'm sorry I didn't take Boy Scouts.
Well, I'm an Eagle Scout, and I don't know how to do it either.
So maybe it wouldn't have helped me.
No.
But I am not good with tying stuff around trees and loops and rope. No. It confuses me so bad. I get dyslexic up there. I'd be in the tree stand halfway up there dang, this thing won't move. And there'd be deer coming up it's getting late.
Oh, okay, I'm not that bad.
Yeah, no, that's me. When I get in the trees, when I hang a tree stand, I throw the sticks up, I throw the platform on, I ratchet strap it fast, make sure it's secure. I get up on top of it, I hug the tree, and I jump up and down on the ladder.
Yep.
Or on the platform, make sure it's good. Throw the seat down, and...
So wait, when you put your ladder on, you hug the tree as you go up?
No. So, I put the sticks on, so I put one stick on, about a foot off the ground, put a stick, and then I'll space it 16 inches, put another stick, climb it up, put another stick, climb it up. I think my tree stands have 4 sticks on them, and I'll go up to the 4th stick, and I'll go about a foot down from the top of it, and I'll hold on to the platform. With one hand, my arms are freaking muscular from this. When I get done, I can only put one tree stand up a day because it works my butt. I get back down after hanging the 4th stick. I grab the platform with one arm. I climb up.
Oh, man.
I hold it to the tree stand.
You're working too hard.
I reach around the tree with my left arm, grab the ratchet strap, bring it around, pull on the ratchet strap, fish it through while I'm just holding myself with my legs, pull it tight, ratchet strap it a little bit to get it tight enough that it holds itself, and then I position it where I want. And then I have another, so I don't just use one ratchet strap. I have this strap that comes with the tree stand as well, and I strap that to it as well.
Yeah.
And then I'll actually take what's left of the ratchet strap, wrap it back around the tree, and tie it fast to one of the sticks really tight. That way, if something would happen, maybe like it wouldn't like go as quick.
Right.
I'd have time to react.
Do you, for your hang ones, do you lift them up, tighten them, and then cam them down?
Yes. Yeah. So, I'll get them. Like, whenever I first get them up to the tree, they'll be folded open because I only have one arm.
Yeah.
And I'll ratchet strap them pretty tight. And then I'll push the stand up. I'll ratchet strap it one more click, push it down, and it's not quite tight, like it's not quite flush. And then I'll climb up a little bit, get on it, and I'll like give it a good jolt with my feet.
Yep.
And it'll like scar into the tree.
Yep.
And it locks it tight. And then, then it's tight. And in the fall, I just did this last year for the first time on my stands. I went around and I loosened up the straps.
Yeah.
And some of them were tight. Like
that's
tight,
a good idea. If you're not taking them down, maybe loosen them up.
Yeah, it definitely saves your ratchet straps. Some of my ratchet straps are bright orange.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So same here. I have like green ones too.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
No, I don't. The deer really don't notice that as well. Yeah. I don't think it's weird that they can pick you out in the tree, but that orange ratchet strap doesn't bother them.
Maybe if you're putting in, if you're just putting in a stand, and you can put in a stand later in the season, like as long as you're concealed with it and you put it discreetly. Now, if you're just putting it up in like an open tree in the middle of the thing, then but maybe if you're trying to be discreet with it, you can use a different colored one. But you need to use a lineman's belt. I can't believe you don't use a lineman. Do you know what a lineman's belt is?
I have no idea.
Okay, so
it goes around your waist.
It goes, you hook it into your hips at your harness, and it goes around the tree. And you just, as you go up, you tighten it. But you're locked in around the tree, and your feet are on your ladder, and your hands are completely free. It is it's easy, it's simple, they're not that expensive. I actually lucked out this year, and I know someone that works on, I don't know if I should say what he works on, but he uses safety equipment really heavily, and he has a really nice lineman's belt. So I'm going to be able to use that this year. But I'm telling you, the guys that kind of brought me up that, showed me how to hang tree stands and stuff, they all use them. And you literally can hang off of it, pull your tree stand up, put your thing around, and it is just so much safer because we emphasize a lot of safety on, putting your tree stand up or when you're getting in your stand and hunting, but I think most falling accidents probably come from hanging tree stands. That's the most dangerous part.
Yeah.
Whether you're hanging a ladder stand.
Ladder stands especially because I know I'm guilty for it. I've done it by myself. I get it up there and I climb up the ladder without it being ratchet strapped to the tree. You get up there, grab onto the tree quick, wrap the ratchet strap around and tighten it. And that's so unsafe because that thing could just go straight backwards and you'd be screwed.
It could kick sideways on you, flip around.
I do it all by myself.
Yeah.
And whenever, I don't do that anymore because I don't hardly use ladder stands. But when I was like 15, that's all I did. I'd throw the ladder against it and I'd run up it quick and grab the tree and ratchet strap it around quick.
I was really thinking I've been looking into this. I was researching saddle hunting a lot this year. And I think maybe next year I might try it. They claim it's the safest way to hunt. And it's because you're strapped in all the time. And it's really foolproof. Not really, but you're strapped in constantly. There's no guess whether or not you're going to fall out or not.
Yeah.
Like you test your equipment to make sure it holds you, and then your equipment's holding you in the tree, and you're strapped in the entire time. What I really liked about it is, especially if you're on a property where you have other people that hunt, or you're in public lands, or even if you have private property and you don't want people sneaking on your property to hunt out of your stands, what you can do is you can just take your ladder, put your ladder up, and you buy one platform, and every time you go in, you just hang your platform, hunt off the platform, put your saddle, you have your saddle on, hang your bridge and everything, and then you're ready to go.
Yep.
And then now you're not worried about other people stealing your spots. But I'm going to try out a climber this year a little bit and try it out. I've messed with them, but I've never actually went out and hunted with one. Well, I did once. It was this old one. And I go down to my spot and find this tree. I'm like, I'll just go up this one. Get halfway up it, and I had bungee cords luckily connecting the base of the climber up to the I don't know, the top part where you hold on to and you push up with. Well, my feet slid out of the bottom of the climber, and I'm like 12 feet up in this tree, and the bottom of my climber falls. And I'm sure there's someone at least listening to this podcast that this happened to. Luckily, I had my straps hooked on, but I had to fall down. It was still like more than my height because the bungee cords were old, so the base fell down. I had to like let go like this and like hang down and grab it with my feet and then do like a pull up back and like get it to sit in. I'm like, holy cow.
That was a close one.
Yeah. I see videos on the internet all the time.
Where the guys are sitting up there and their base is on the ground. They're like, how am I getting down?
Yeah, call your buddy to get his climber up there or something. I don't know.
Get a ladder.
Yeah.
Ruin your hunt and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That would be miserable. And that's one thing that scares me with the climber. And there's a lot of stories with these climbers that they just slide the whole way down the tree to the bottom. Now, that's why you're supposed to have like even when you're going up, you take a rope up with you and slide it up. So that way if you do fall, you still have some safety there.
Yeah.
Because you fall out of a tree stand, especially 16 feet and higher, it's not going to be good, most likely.
Yeah.
You fall on your head, break your neck, break your back, break your legs. It's not good. And here's if any of you, remember this, if an accident happens this year in the woods and you fall, don't get up right away. Because I forget exactly how it works, but something about the blood rushing to your head or something or whatever could kill you almost instantly.
Yeah.
So lay down, call 911 if you can, call someone to come help you, and then have, medical people. But yeah, they say don't get up right away if you do fall, because it could be, like, it could almost kill you just from getting up. And
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, right now just kind of letting the trail cam soak for me.
That's the kind of, like, right now it's kind of like that awkward time. It's not really awkward, like, things are starting, it's just getting started.
Yeah.
Like, the deer are just starting to get grown. You're starting to tell which bucks are going to be bigger, which bucks are going to be smaller.
Yep.
Here in another week or two, you're going to be able to, like, some bucks right now, since I've watched them last year, like, I'm already starting to tell which ones they are. Their brow tines, that's the first indicator. Their brow tines, the shape of them, you can go back to last year, and the brow tines, if you can trace that back, you can almost figure out, like, which buck it is right off the bat.
Yep.
Sometimes it's a little harder, so you got to wait till they start putting their 2s up, their 3s. But here in another week or so, the bigger bucks are going to be that far that you're going to be able to be like, okay, that's this buck from last year, or he's going to be a freaking giant, or he's going to be good. Like, you're going to be able to tell that stuff in the next week or two. Then July, it's going to be, I think it's going to be pretty good. Like, there's some bucks now that are already starting their 3s, and I have a lot of nice bucks that in July didn't even have their 3s. And when I'm saying 3s and 2s, I'm talking about like G2s, G3s.
Yeah.
But so there's some bucks that are already getting started like that, and I'm ecstatic.
Uh-huh.
I had a buck show up on our one farm, and I'm pretty sure it's a buck that I haven't had on camera since 2020. And so that's like, he's an older deer. His brow tines have like an S curve in them, and he was already getting ready to start his G2s in the middle of May. And when you're talking about starting G2s in the middle of May, that's some like Iowa stuff.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen him since 2020. In 2020, he's like 135-inch 11-point. And he could be a freaking stud. Like a stud. And that kind of stuff is what I want to make a video about. Show you some pictures. Not tell you where they're at.
Yeah.
And you guys can watch it, and then hopefully, like, we can piece it all together and be successful in the fall.
Yeah. We're going to start running through. You need to start shooting your bow now. You need to get out there. You need to start working it out. Take it, get it tuned, get your arrows now. You don't want to wait till August, September
Nope.
to get that stuff dialed in. Your archery shop owners don't appreciate that. It's not good for you. You want to have your setup dialed, by mid-August, definitely September, so where you can shoot your setup consistently and make sure everything's good. I know some guys, go out, but if you really want to be conscious about it and make sure
fair to the animal,
start getting it now. We're going to do hopefully some videos of us shooting our bows, our bow setups, what we're running, and we're actually going to get a very knowledgeable guy on about archery, the archery world. He's shot around great shooters. He's starting his own shop locally here to us. He makes bowstrings. Incredible dude, very knowledgeable, and he's kind of like the go-to guy around our area now, just because he's so knowledgeable and he does a great job with all of his stuff. And your bow and arrow, that's what kills your animal.
It's the most important tool you're gonna have. If you don't have it, you're just watching.
Yep. So it's so important to make sure it's dialed in. Your strings are good. If you need new strings, get new strings on it. Get it tuned. If you want to try new broadheads, and I'd like to we could even have a podcast just on broadheads and arrow selection and kind of the new trends that are coming out now with the heavy arrows and high FOC, and should you worry about FOC, or should you just go out to Walmart, buy Walmart arrows, slap some heads on them, and if they group good, you're good. There's different levels to everything, but what you decide on, and I have suffered, because I have not suffered, but I've dealt with the consequences of not taking your setup seriously.
Yep.
And just going out, finding arrows, slapping on broadheads.
You hit the bullseye a couple times, and
you're good.
You're good. Yeah. I did that a lot with my old bow.
Me too.
It was like a 20-some-year-old bow. I was pulling 50 pounds back. I would go to the sports shop, be like, yep, these arrows are good. Didn't even look what grain they were. Get 6 of them, throw whatever 100-grain broadhead on them. I'd shoot them. Okay, I hit the target good in the lungs 2 or 3 times. I mean, I was shooting before this with other arrows, but I get these arrows, shoot them, hit the thing, go out, miss every deer I ever shot at.
Yep.
And then I finally started, starting in June, I started shooting constantly, getting the same arrows every time. Right now I'm shooting my setups 495. We'll get into this in another podcast. But and
start now, though, is basically what we're saying.
I'll just start shooting in June, July, August, September, constantly 5 nights a week, pretty much.
Yep.
And
if you're local,
40, 50 arrows a night.
Yep. If you're local here, Mountain Bowman in Berlin, it's a great little archery club. They have an indoor range. Membership's not expensive, but the third Sunday of every month, they have a 3D shoot. It's like $10. Go out with your buddies. You don't have to be good. There's bow hunter, target, and youth distances. So if you're a young kid or you have a son or daughter that's just getting into archery, you can take them out with you too, and they can shoot. And getting out in the woods and shooting at, it's just foam, but getting out there and shooting these 3D shoots. Yeah, yes. Not shooting at that dot, or not shooting at the same place 20 and 30, 40 yards in your backyard. Getting out there, getting in the woods.
Uncomfortable.
Yep.
You have to. That's the big thing, is being uncomfortable. I've talked about this before, probably on here. I run around my yard a couple times around the house, get my heart freaking pumping like I would if a big buck's coming in. I'll just I'll have an arrow knocked. I'll run down, slide my bow into my hand, pull it back as quick as I can, and I'll go 1, 2, 3, and I'll just pull on 3, whichever, as quick as I can get it on it. Because most of those times in those situations, you pull back, and you're like, meh, they stop, smoke. It's like you have, those decisions have to be quick. But we'll get into this in another podcast. Yeah. This is our first one out since probably a month or better. So we're sorry about that.
We're halfway through June somehow now.
Yeah.
I think, dude, it was before turkey season, so back in April.
We're sorry about it. We've just been so busy and a lot going on in our lives.
We're going to be getting YouTube videos out here, though.
Yep.
The podcast is soon going to be on YouTube. There's not going to be any video, but the audio will be on YouTube, so be a little more accessible for
maybe if you still listen to it on Spotify, that's fine. You don't have to listen to it on YouTube.
Right.
But we're hoping by putting it on YouTube, we reach some new viewers across the United States. A little bit, get some more people to listen in on it. give them a little bit of the farmland hunter experience.
Yep. And we understand that if you don't have an iPhone, then you have to download Spotify. And I get that some people just aren't up to tech, but YouTube is downloaded automatically on any smartphone, and pretty much you can watch it on any computer and listen to it.
And you can just type in the farmland hunter. Even if you spell a couple letters wrong, it's probably going to bring it up anyhow.
Yep, and then you can subscribe and hit the notification bell. It'll give you a notification every time we post a new video, every time we post a podcast.
Yep, and I'll have it in different playlists too. Like right now I have a season 1 of the Farmland Hunter. Pretty much what I'm going to do is every year from turkey season through even like the summer stuff. I'm just going to do from turkey season through the end of the year, which the end of the year will be like shed season. And then it'll automatically, the next season will start up in like around turkey season. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to keep doing that. So the videos will be put into playlists. Like when we get this podcast figured out to put on YouTube, if you go to playlists on YouTube, everything will be organized.
Yep.
That's the big thing. Like sometimes I'll go to YouTube channels and things won't be organized. You got to scroll down through all their videos. But some of them are labeled with seasons and podcasts and that kind of stuff. And it makes it easier to find. So there's a lot of older people that listen to this podcast, and we're grateful for you.
Yep.
And I know when you were probably growing up, you didn't have this, and you're probably still trying to figure out how to work that kind of stuff. So we're trying to make it easy for you guys. Actually, I got kicked out of the newspaper, so
don't buy the Daily American anymore.
Yeah, so they didn't want me to write my articles anymore in there. So a lot of the older crowd that reads the newspaper, they're pretty upset about it, and they're switching over. If you're listening to this and you're one of those people, you got to try and figure it out, and you wanted to figure out how to get here. So we're trying to make it easier for you and the other people that wanted to get there. So we're working on that. It's just so busy with everything else going on to have time to sit down. It takes us usually like 2 hours till we get settled in.
Yeah.
To talk, and then we do this.
Yeah, like today we had static on the microphones. We spent 25 minutes trying to figure out the microphones and stuff, and we're still learning, we're still learning this tech stuff. Me and McCauley
without Jaden,
we don't know like a lot of the stuff. We're learning at it, and we're getting better with it. So that's another big thing. But yeah,
I'm on the phone with Jaden. He's 2.5 hours away, and I'm like, dude, just being like, yeah, there's static and this. I'm turning this button up and it's doing this, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's like 20 buttons on this little thing. He's like, I can't help you. I was like, all right. I was like, we'll figure it out. I'm sorry, but yeah, if Jaden was here, it'd be a lot simpler.
Yeah.
But this was a good little back to our podcast. It's kind of like getting back into things. And we're gonna start again from clean slate. We haven't been out. This is episode 8.
Yeah, and thank you to everyone that bought merch from us too.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Greatly appreciate it.
If you're wondering what we're doing with the proceeds, we're spending it on bad. No, I'm just kidding. We're not
buying beer and drugs and.
No, we're using it to get some different equipment. Maybe get some more stuff to like the recording end of it, like the video editing. That kind of stuff. I bought a video editing app. That's what I used to do the YouTube video. I'm still learning. It was a decent video, I'd say, for the first one.
Yeah.
It's better than most YouTube videos that people put out. But
it's all going back in just to get better content to kind of bring you guys closer to
so you guys
what
can
we're doing.
Intertwine. It's good when like the viewers are connected. Like I watch Midwest Whitetail. I'm connected. If they had come to Pennsylvania, I'd drive the whole way across the state to see them, to talk to the guys, because that's just how I am. And I want you guys. I don't want you guys to be like think that about me, like that. I'm not asking you to think that about me, but like I want you guys to be like interested in it
and be invested in it and follow around with the hunting aspect of it and
the stories.
Yeah, and bringing it. We want to bring hunting directly to you, because we know, like, for me, these content creators and these hunts, they really affect me and how I hunt. And I think it's so cool that now we can video and share conversations and ideas about hunting and different news, and take it directly to people
Yep.
without going through a third-party source like, the Outdoor Channel and stuff like that. But
But yeah, it's all been good, and we're just thankful for everybody that listens in.
Yeah.
And we're excited for this year. Every year gets better and better. Every month gets better and better. I mean, we just started this podcast in January.
Yeah.
January.
Yeah.
And
I think so.
It's doing good, and I'm happy. Lots going on right now, but we're working it all out, and we're gonna try and bring you guys some of the best content that we're able to. So
Yep.
We're gonna hop on off of here, and we hope you guys have a good summer. If you guys get any trail camera pictures of any bucks or anything, send them to me. I'm not one of those guys that'll just open it and not reply to you. I'll look at it. I'll interact with you. I like that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
See what, like, you have a question, text me on Instagram, DM me. Just any of that kind of stuff. I'm down to answer any questions or look at anything you have questions about.
And share your stories with us, because I truly enjoy hearing from, because I take every, like, when someone tells me their story about their hunt or whatever, I like to think about it and take it in. It's just, they do, you go out and you hunt, and that's a hunt that I didn't get to experience, but I can still learn something from that hunt.
Yep. And,
you can always learn something, and I always enjoy sitting down and talking with someone about hunting, and it's just, I like that, it's a community of us. It's the Farmland Hunters, not just us. It's a community.
Yep.
We're full of hunters and
people that
love the outdoors.
Yeah, and people that don't even hunt bought merch. And just because they're supportive and they like what we're doing. And thank you to everybody that does that. And we're appreciative.
And watch our videos and watch these.
And think we're cute. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm surprised people watch it and listen to this. I don't understand how or why people do it.
But we're happy you do.
Yeah. And I'm just glad that, hopefully you are getting some enjoyment out of it.
And you learn a little bit of something. Even if you just take like a little bit away from it, it's important.
Yep.
But thank you guys, and we're going to try and make this a little bit more regular like it was before.
Yep.
We've just been busy. But we're going to crank out some videos and do all that kind of good stuff, and we're going to hop on out of here. So thank you for listening in.
Yep. We'll see you guys. Have a good one.